Okay, we're back. We're live. It's Monday. It's 4 to 5. That means it's Agritech in the Islands. I'm Jay Fidell here in the ThinkTech Talks. We're talking today about new developments at Cyanotech. Cyanotech is in Nelha in Kona. And we have the president of the company, Bob Capelli. Did I pronounce that right?
No, it's Capelli, and I'm vice president.
Capelli, vice president. Okay, and Gerry Cysewski, and he's the chief science officer and a founder. Did I get that right?
That's correct, Gerry Cysewski.
Okay, exciting. And I can see you guys on our fancy setup here, where I'm on one side of the screen here in Honolulu, and you guys are on the other side of the screen by Skype in Kona. We love to do that. We love Skype. We call it Skype Fest. So, Cyanotech, important company, had a long history in Hawaii, long history in Nelha. It's been there, what did you tell me, since 1984? I mean, my God, there were some people around that weren't even born in 1984. I know them. I can vouch for that. And here you guys have been going all this time. Can you tell us about Cyanotech first? What is it? A public company, last time I looked, and it's had all kinds of thrills and spills over the past, my goodness, 30, I get this right, 30 years of doing business at Nelha. What does Cyanotech do?
Well, Cyanotech Corporation is a microalgae company, and all of our products and technology are based on microalgae. Right now, we have two major product lines: spirulina, sold under the brand name Hawaiian Spirulina Pacifica, and we also produce natural astaxanthin, sold under the brand name Bioastin. And the natural astaxanthin is actually produced from a different microalgae called Haematococcus pluvialis.
Okay. Can we drill down just a little on that? I want to go into it in much greater detail in a little while. But so why do you want to produce these things? What is the market for them? And why does the public need them? What are they useful for? And I can tell you, in reference, I remember that Cardax, David Watermole's company, uses astaxanthin. I guess it's the not the natural kind, but the synthetic kind, to reduce inflammation in the body and thus make the body more healthy. So where do those two things cross?
Well, the reason we produce these products is that it really brings a lot of benefit to people's lives. We have testimonials over and over again of how happy people are using our products. Some of the specific things, Bob, do you want to cover some of that?
Oh, there's quite a few different clinically validated areas of benefits for both products, and primarily with the Bioastin astaxanthin. That's primarily used for all sorts of joint and tendon problems, like if you have arthritis, or if you have, for example, tendinitis or carpal tunnel syndrome, things like that. Very effective for helping to reduce pain, increase mobility. So that's a really, we just got done doing the Made in Hawaii Festival over the weekend, and we had just like thousands of people come up and buy the products from us and telling us that they love them. And I think probably over half the people taking the Bioastin astaxanthin are taking it for joint health issues. Also very good for skin health. If you take this product internally, believe it or not, it works as an external sunscreen. We still recommend people to use sunscreen when they go out, but it is an added layer of protection for people going out in the sun. Also very good for cardiovascular health, for things like brain health, things like this. So these are all documented in human clinical research, not just the testimonials that Gerry referred to, but plenty of very well-run placebo-controlled studies. Now, the other product, spirulina, that's primarily used, I'd say the number one reason people take that is because it helps to boost the immune system, ward off colds and flu, just keep people healthy. Also documented to help increase energy levels as well. So there are some other things as well that both products do, but those are the primary reasons that consumers are using these products.
Now, are they, these are FDA products, or are these products just natural and you put them on a shelf in a food supplement store and people can buy them without a prescription and all? I mean, where does that fit?
Well, Jay, they're all natural products, non-GMO, certified herbicide and pesticide free. They are sold under the FDA guidance of something called DSHEA, the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act. So they definitely are a regulated product. Their safety has been reviewed. We also manufacture both the bioacin, natural astaxanthin, as well as the Hawaiian Spirulina pacifica under FDA laws for good manufacturing practices. And we're certified to follow those good manufacturing practices by the United Products Association.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely regulated industry.
If I wanted to buy the spirulina or the astaxanthin, where would I go? And how expensive would it be to, develop a regimen around them?
Well, I'll tell you, here in Hawaii, it's pretty easy because we've done so well here over the years, and it's our home base. We've done a lot of marketing here. Not quite the same on the mainland, where you have to really probably go down to a health food store or buy it over multiple e-tailers. People selling over the internet sell our products as well. But in Hawaii, you can get it in Costco, Walmart, Target, Long's Drugs, all the health food stores, GNC, Vitamin Shop, Marukai, Don Quixote. I mean, it's all over. Pretty much anywhere you go shopping, you can find this stuff because it's so popular here.
I'm getting a feeling this nutritional supplement business is a really big business, and maybe very popular in Hawaii too. I mean, can you comment on the growth of this kind of product in the marketplace, the kind of interest that people show globally and also in Hawaii? I mean, is Hawaii special in terms of being a market?
Well, I don't know if Hawaii is special. It certainly is special for our products because, again, we have so much word of mouth here, and so many people have been taking it for years and telling their friends and family members about it. Globally, the supplement market is doing well. I mean, we see every year after year growth. Now, when you dig down deep into it and you look at the various different supplements out there, there's very, very different growth patterns. Now, our spirulina product has been around since the 70s. One company was marketing it before us, and we were the second ones in the world to market it. And it still has some good growth, but it's slow and steady. It's going up 10-15% a year. It's not like anything gangbusters. People love it, and more people are taking it and trying it. But the other product, the bioacin astaxanthin, that has had explosive growth. I mean, we're talking about every year going up 50-60%. Just we can't even make it fast enough. It's really unbelievable how well received it's been recently.
What does the medical profession say about microalgae products like spirulina and astaxanthin? Would they agree that this has therapeutic effect? Would they agree that it is good for your health, or is there some discussion in the community with two sides of the argument?
Well, there is some skepticism in the medical community about health supplements in general. But as Bob pointed out, these two products, natural astaxanthin and spirulina, have a tremendous amount of work. I mean, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies, many animal studies. Matter of fact, we've assembled a book of abstracts on both spirulina and astaxanthin, a book of abstracts on medical research on these two products. The spirulina abstract book contains, 560 pages of medical research on spirulina, or the ingredients contained by spirulina. And the natural astaxanthin abstract book has over 300 medical abstracts.
Yeah, there's been a lot of research, as Gerry points out, and the problem with the medical community is that a lot of the MDs, they're so inundated nowadays with, a lot of the insurance companies require them to see so many patients just to make a living nowadays, the way they pay out their benefits. And so they don't have a lot of time to research this. And so they're given a lot of information from, say, drug company sales reps, but really they just don't have time to research what's going on in the supplement world. Now, that's the norm, but you have some specific MDs that have really embraced this stuff. There's an MD from Honolulu, just as an example, who he actually, Gerry and I wrote a book about astaxanthin. He has the first testimonial in the book. This is a medical doctor. He's actually a
anesthesiologist.
Yeah, that's an anesthesiologist. Works at a Queens Medical Center, and he says that this bioacin actually changed his life because he was acutely prone to sunburn. He's lived in Hawaii, born and raised in Honolulu. He is a haole. He could only go out in the sun for about a half an hour before getting massively burned. He started taking the bioastin, and within just a month or so, he could go out in the sun now for 4 or 5 hours midday and doesn't get burned.
So this is something he puts on his skin, or is this something he takes orally?
That's the crazy thing about it, that you take it internally and it's working as an external sunscreen.
Wow, that's
The
really
capsules
interesting.
internally. So
Can you tell me his name?
His name is Dr. Robert Childs, and like I said, he allows us to use his testimonial. He loves the product. He's personally told, I'd say by this point, thousands of people about it, and that's another main reason why we sell so well in Hawaii, because Dr. Childs and several other MDs and other types of health practitioners, they know the product and love it and believe in it. Now you go to the mainland, and they're not quite as well schooled, a lot of the MDs over there, so it'd be harder to find people that in that profession that are really up on this stuff.
Jay, one thing I wanted to point out, these are all natural products, and they do not work as fast as prescription drugs. For instance, Bob mentioned joint pain. You can go and get a prescription anti-inflammatory, and it'll work overnight, but they have some serious side effects. With bioastin, you have to take it for at least a month to start feeling the effects. However, there are absolutely no side effects. So you come into a doctor with an ache or a joint or an inflammation, he's going to assign you a very strong prescription drug with the potential of having side effects. Natural astaxanthin can do the same thing, but it's going to take a month to see the effects.
Now that's okay for people. I mean, if it's gradual or it affects you on a gradually, improved basis, that's terrific. But how do you know? I mean, you mentioned 500 pages of, abstracts, and I wonder, is that what shows us there are no side effects?
Well, yes. I mean, in terms of adverse events, side effects, we really haven't experienced any. And I mentioned we've been selling spirulina since 1984, astaxanthin into the supplement market since '99. Literally millions and millions of doses, and really haven't got any reports of adverse reactions. And when we applied to the FDA under the DSHEA Act, we assembled a big safety dossier, and it was reviewed by the FDA. If we did not have enough safety data, the FDA would have said, "Don't sell your product."
Okay. One other thing is, if I want to look at the 500 pages of abstracts, was it abstract that you spoke of? I mean, where would I find it on the website? Is there any way I can take a look at that?
Sure, you can actually just go to www.cyanotech.com. If you go to the technical library, you'll see both the spirulina abstract book as well as the astaxanthin abstract book.
Okay, that's great. One other question before we take a break, and that is, so we have spirulina and we have astaxanthin. What other products, are either out there from Cyanotech or maybe out there, in the pipeline for later? Or are these the two within your business model that are the primary products that you are focusing on?
Well, there certainly are two primary products right now. We're on the lookout always for a third product, a third microalgal product. I can't really talk about what we're doing research on right now, but one thing I can say is Cyanotech is interested in high value, high quality products for microalgae. We're not interested in biofuels whatsoever. Some other companies in the microalgae field are looking at concentrated omega-3 fatty acids produced by microalgae. There's a whole host of products. There's over 30,000 different species of microalgae and can produce a very wide variety of products. So we're methodically going through a number of them, looking for products that have a lot of benefits and can provide some real value to consumers.
These again would be nutraceutical products.
Yes.
And I should point out, we do we take our raw materials of spirulina and astaxanthin and we combine them with some other things into formulas. So we have a formula, for example, with astaxanthin. It's called joint astin, and this is taking our bioastin astaxanthin, combining it with glucosamine. a vegetarian-sourced, high-quality glucosamine. So it's a way to attack joint issues from two different angles, from the anti-inflammatory angle and also from glucosamine helping to rebuild cartilage. We have, for example, an eye product called eye acid that takes the astaxanthin, combines it with lutein and zeaxanthin and bilberry, some things that are documented to be very good for eye health. We have, for example, we just are launching a product with spirulina as the base. It's called Green Complete. So it takes spirulina, combines it with a few other green products like wheatgrass and dulse, and then also puts in some extra antioxidants and also puts in some probiotics. So it's all in a powder that you blend in with your smoothie. So it's not just the pure astaxanthin and spirulina that we grow here on our farm, but it's also a few other products that we've made targeting specific functions, but always with our astaxanthin or spirulina as the base.
Okay, we're going to take a break, gentlemen. That's Rob Capelli, Vice President of Cyanotech, and Gerry Cysewski, the Chief Science Officer and one of the founders. Are we the only founder or one of the founders?
One of the founders. I founded Cyanotech with one other gentleman.
Okay, and we're going to take a short break, gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard, and I host the show Center Stage on the ThinkTech Hawaii digital series right here every Wednesday from 2 to 3 Hawaii time. I would really love to have you watch the show and see what we do here. I talk with some of the most amazing people, artists, most of them, all of them involved in some sort of artistic process. And our goal here on the show is to dig into that artistic process, and you would not believe what some people say, what some people do, what people go through to express. And these are people who have to express somehow, and I find that infinitely interesting. Not only that they have to express, but how they end up doing it. I really hope that you will watch the show and enjoy talking with some of these people the same way that I do. Thanks, and I hope to see you soon on Center Stage on the ThinkTech Hawaii digital series, Wednesdays from 2 to 3. See you soon.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're here on ThinkTech Talks, Agritech in the Islands, where we get help in identifying guests from the Department of Agriculture of the State of Hawaii. We're talking about new developments at Cyanotech today with Bob Capelli and Gerry Cysewski. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One is the vice president of the company, and the other is the chief science officer. So can I ask you guys how you got to be where you are? I mean, this is a unique kind of company. I don't think there's any other company in Hawaii that does what you do. Am I right about that?
That's correct.
And so, how did you get into this? I mean, what drove you down this road?
Well, my training, I have a Bachelor of Science degree in chemical engineering, hardcore chemical engineering from University of Washington, and a PhD again, in chemical engineering from University of California at Berkeley. And all of my graduate research, though, rather than hardcore chemical engineering, was in the area of bioengineering, working with microorganisms to produce products. Mm-hmm. And when I graduated from UC Berkeley, I went to work at UC Santa Barbara as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemical and Nuclear Engineering. Mm-hmm. And I was tired of the research. I was actually working on enzymatic conversion of cellulose and then alcohol fermentation for fuels. And I spent a summer in the library and came across this whole class of organisms, microalgae, that really had never been any engineering solution applied to their production. So I started working with microalgae. I was funded by the National Science Foundation and then some university grants. And so that's where it all really started. And then as we move forward a little bit, I worked for a company called Battelle Northwest, which is a big contract research and development company, and came across an opportunity that this new product was coming into the U.S. health food industry, spirulina. It was a product that had a very good nutritional profile, but realized that this product was all coming in from Mexico, produced near Lake Texcoco near Mexico City. And although it had wonderful nutritional qualities, it was dirty. It had high heavy metals, it had high bacterial counts, and then thought, okay, here's the opportunity. A market's already established for spirulina. Here's an opportunity to produce a really high quality, very clean product in a pristine area like the Kona Coast of the Big Island of Hawaii. And that's what really got things started.
And that was the first product for Cyanotech?
Yes, back in 1984.
Wow, interesting, wow. Okay, Bob, how about you? You're in the business side, so what led you down this road?
Well, a very different story than Gerry's. I was a liberal arts major in university, and after university, I decided I wanted to see the world. And so I spent the better part of 4 years traveling and then working in developing countries, mostly in Asia and then Latin America. And what I found was that the state of, shall we say, medicine in general in developing countries was very different from what I had grown up with here in the U.S. And what I found was that people in most developing countries did not have money to run to the doctor, and certainly didn't have money to buy expensive prescription drugs. So if they had a condition or were getting sick, most of them would turn to herbal medicines. And so I developed an incredible deep respect for and belief in the power of medicinal healing through plants. And as soon as I got back to the country, this was in my late 20s, I decided I wanted to get into the natural products industry in the supplement side of things, where we could find great products that would actually help heal people and help keep us, preventative, help keep us healthy and keep us from going to the hospital in the first place, based on what I saw in other countries. So I was born and raised in New Jersey, and upon returning from South America, I went right back to New Jersey and got a job in the supplement industry. And here's the very interesting thing on my part about how I got to Cyanotech specifically was, after working for about a dozen years or so in the supplement industry in the New York, New Jersey area, and I was distributing a lot of different products at the time. It wasn't just a small handful of very efficacious things. I found this astaxanthin product, the bioacid astaxanthin, when I was working for my other company, because we actually were a distributor of Cyanotech's products, finished goods products called Nutrex Hawaii products. And I started taking it because the natural astaxanthin is known to be the world's strongest natural antioxidant. And I knew how important taking antioxidants was as a preventative measure to fend off all sorts of life-threatening diseases. And what I found was, after taking this for about a month, I was having serious joint problems and muscle soreness after I did any kind of exercise, and I was starting to think I had to give up sports in my early 40s. I found that I was having no more joint pain, no more knee issues, no more muscle soreness, and it was an effect of the bioacid astaxanthin. And sure enough, shortly after that, Cyanotech did some medical research, some human clinical studies, and found this to be true. I found it on my own beforehand and pursued a job with Cyanotech because of that, moved the family to Hawaii, and have been here for the last 12 years, taking both the spirulina and the bioacid every day. And by the way, never have I had a cold or flu or been sick or missed a day of work in 12 years since I started taking these products. So I can attest to their ability to increase immunity and to ward off diseases.
Did you introduce that product to Cyanotech?
Oh, no. Cyanotech was producing it, and they had just launched it, and we were a distributor of theirs.
Okay.
So I took it, based on the fact that I knew it was a very, very strong antioxidant, but found it also had joint health properties.
Okay. Well, something you said is really interesting and sort of in the larger sense, and let me digress on it for a moment. It was just last evening that 60 Minutes had a very interesting segment on the health wagon, which is an incredible phenomenon in the American South, where there are no doctors or doctors that people can't afford because they don't have insurance. And this is in the case of Virginia. Virginia elected not to, they opted out of Obamacare. And as a result, a lot of people don't have insurance and can't afford a doctor on an ad hoc basis. So they rely on the health wagon. The health wagon is staffed by some advanced practice nurses and gives them medical care. And that's the only medical care they can afford to have. It's quite extraordinary. It's a piece of poverty that is a shame in our nation and in the state of Virginia, for that matter. But what's interesting, is if you connect that with what you were saying a minute ago, so there are places now where people can't get regular health care. And there are these products that actually improve your health and improve the quality of your, your metabolism, if you will, and your likelihood of staying healthy. So does this affect sales? Does it affect Cyanotech's possibilities in the marketplace, both overseas, as you experienced, or in this country, where people, they need to do something. They can't spend a lot of money on health or health insurance, and so they use supplements as a way to stay healthy. Are there sea changes in these areas? Can you speak of this?
Well, in the recent recession that we had, surprisingly, we did not have a turn down in sales. It actually continued to grow. So I think just as what you mentioned, Jay, was happening, is people couldn't afford to go to the doctor. They wanted to stay healthy, and they turned to supplements to try and stay healthy and not having to go see a doctor. So we saw steady growth all through the recessionary period.
And I think more and more people are looking towards prevention rather than wait until you get sick and trying to find a cure. I mean, that's the famous expression, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and there's nothing truer than taking care of your body and taking if you can take a few very good supplements, you can potentially ward off lots of the major life-threatening illnesses, so heart disease, cancers, diabetes, things like that, just by doing a little exercise, eating a good diet, and maybe taking a few supplements. And I think more and more every year people are finding that to be the case and seeking these out.
Well, that does lead to the cost, and I'm wondering what the cost is. Because drugs. We're having a program, by the way. Let me take a moment and promote our program. We're having a program on medical research in Hawaii, and you'd be amazed at how much medical research is in fact going on here. Very sophisticated, world-class curing cancer type research right here in Hawaii. It's fabulous. That's what's going on. And we're trying to roll that out, so that people understand about it. And some of the drugs involved are extraordinarily expensive. And I'm wondering what we are talking about when talking about the cost of these microalgae drugs, the spirulina, I shouldn't say drugs, but supplements, the spirulina and the astaxanthin. I mean, what does it cost me to take I don't know if this is the way it goes, but a recommended daily dose? How much do I need to spend in order to maintain a decent regimen?
Well, I mean, fortunately in Hawaii here in particular, there's so much competition among the different stores selling it that you can always find it on sale, on promotion. I mean, frankly, if you just buy it at Costco, Walmart, Target, a lot of them just have an everyday low price. And you can probably get we have a range of dosages. I mean, if you have serious, say, like, arthritis, we want you to take a top dose of 12 milligrams, for example, of the bioastin. If you have, just as a maintenance thing, as a preventative thing, and you don't have major issues, you can get by with like 1/3 of that with a 4 milligram dose. So if you're taking the top dose of bioastin, it probably costs you I'd say about 50 cents a day or so. For the very, very top dosage, if you buy it consistently on sale.
50 cents a day?
50 cents a day, yeah. Huh. So $15 a month, something like that. Yeah. If you're taking spirulina, it's a little bit less than that, even, I would say. It's probably about
30, 35 cents?
30, yeah, maybe even a little bit less, about 25 cents a day or so.
Is it possible for me to overdose on these supplements? I mean, if I really go crazy and I become, sort of a zealot about it, and I decide that, for example, astaxanthin is going to make me a perfect human specimen, and the more I take, the better I am. Is there a point where I'm crossing a line somewhere?
Well, yes, there is. I mean, anything you can overdose on. But with astaxanthin, bioastin, as Bob mentioned, trying to address a specific health condition, 12 milligrams. We have triathletes, for instance, that take upwards of 50 milligrams a day with no side effects. Now, they're training very hard. They're taking the bioastin to speed recovery and reduce joint and muscle soreness. But certainly we would not, we don't recommend over 12 milligrams. The spirulina, somewhat similar. We recommend about 3 grams a day, which is 6 500 milligram tablets a day. We know people that will take up to 25 grams a day. What happens with the spirulina is that it's a very good source of natural beta carotene, And the natural beta carotene will start to absorb in the palms of your hands, and your hands will start to turn yellowish, almost a little jaundice. You know you've definitely taken too much spirulina. But in terms of it inducing some major health conditions, we're not aware of anything, you know, up to, say, 20, 25 grams of spirulina and 50 milligrams of astaxanthin a day.
And these are, you know, what, 5 to 10 times the recommended dosages. So if you're really sticking to the recommended dosages, there's really absolutely no safety concerns, no contraindications at all.
We're going to take another short break, gentlemen. That's Bob Capelli, Vice President of Cyanotech in Kailua Kona at Nelha, and Gerry Cysewski, who's the Chief Science Officer and founder of Cyanotech in Kona. We'll be right back, gentlemen, after this short break.
Aloha, my name is Willow Chang Alion, and I host a show called The Art of Life. We air live every Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. And what we do is basically we focus on individuals who create a unique sense of place for Hawaii. These are movers and shakers, artists, innovators. They are also traditionalists. They're all involved in the archival process, and they make this place a unique place, one that makes Hawaii a richer place to be. I hope you do join us, and certainly tell your friends about the show, whether they live here or they live abroad. It's a way to give back to our community. We're keeping it.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're here on ThinkTech Talks, Agritech in the islands. We're talking about new developments at Cyanotech in Kailua Kona at Nelha, the Natural Energy Laboratory of Hawaii Authority. And we have Bob Capelli, who's the Vice President of the company, and Gerry Cysewski, who's the Chief Science Officer there. Gentlemen, let me ask you, you imply that these are not the only supplements on the market. There are many supplements. And although you don't manufacture any others right now, it's not beyond the pale of imagination for a person to arrange a whole array of supplements for his daily improvement of his health every day. And so the question I put to you is, how do I determine what I need? Assuming no two people are the same, how can I figure out my daily dosages of what?
I mean, that's a complicated question, really. And like you said, no two people are the same. And that's probably the key part of the answer here is that it depends on what you're looking to do. It depends on, is it preventative? Are you have some kind of condition you're trying to work on specifically? To me, now, I said earlier in the show that I came from a company that was a distributor, and my last job, I only had 2 jobs really in the industry before I came over here to Cyanotech, but my last one, we had 8,500 different supplements we sold. And the way I felt about it, to be honest with you, was that about 25% of them were very, very good, well documented and with research and extremely healthy. Another 50% of them, were okay, but nothing like spectacular. And then 25% of them I would never take. I would never recommend to anyone to take. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to come to Cyanotech, because we only really have 2 products we produce. But these 2 products are absolutely efficacious, absolutely well documented through all the clinical research, and very, very, they're good for pretty much everybody. So I can't speak to whether you should be taking a lot of other supplements. I personally take a few others. I don't take only spirulina and bioacid. I take a handful of other supplements as well. But with the bioacid, you're covering yourself as an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory, which inflammation and oxidation are 2 of the leading causes of almost every disease that we get. So you're really doing a lot for prevention, as well as obviously the help with any kind of joint issues, with your skin, with your eyes and brain, things like that, cardiovascular system. Now, with the spirulina, that's a little different. That is the bioacid is an extract from algae. The spirulina is just the algae, just dried and then put into either tablet or a powder form and then put into bottles. And that algae, spirulina, is the most packed, nutritious substance known to man. You have a greater variety of nutrients, and you have a higher concentration of nutrients than you can find anywhere else. The result is, if you take just 6 little tiny tablets or just a teaspoon of powder and mix it in your beverage or food, you're getting the equivalent in terms of nutritional value of 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in pretty much everything other than fiber. You're not going to be getting the same levels of fiber. But with that, I mean, we all know how important it is to eat fruits and vegetables. If you're not getting your 5 to 9 servings that are recommended by pretty much every authoritative group in the country or the world, you can really cover a lot of bases. It's almost like a natural multivitamin just by taking this little bit of spirulina each day in your diet.
Mm-hmm. What does it taste like? I have this imagination that it might taste like spinach. What does it taste like?
No, it has a mild, what we say, sea vegetable aroma. Mm-hmm. Many people like the taste and the smell. Mm-hmm. Others do not. If you mix it in with apple juice, it tastes very good. Also, taking the tablets pretty much eliminates the taste and the odor.
What do people prefer, the tablets or what is it, a powder? And it dissolves in liquids?
Well, it suspends in liquids. It really doesn't dissolve. I'm lazy. I take the tablets.
So do I.
Yeah.
It's just quicker. I don't have to make a smoothie up and take 6 tablets in the morning and I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, we sell probably, I'd say, 2 or 3 times more tablets than we do powder, but
it's convenient.
A lot of the purists and like the real health food type, you were saying before, zealot, like if you became a zealot, a lot of the zealots love the powder because it's just, the purest way you can get it.
Yeah.
It's a little messy, but it certainly does the trick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let me shift gears a little and go to something that we always want to ask about because we're into the technology of it. So algae is not easy to grow. Algae has to have certain conditions. Hawaii is a good place to grow algae outside anyway with the sunshine and all. On the other hand, you have to protect algae from contaminants that come in from the air and the water and the rain and what have you. We know this because of all the efforts to try to use algae for energy purposes. It's where those issues have come up. And then of course, you have to put it into the tablet or into the suspension, the powder, whatever. And so you have to have a facility for all this. And I presume you have the capacity for all of that in your plant, your facility at Nelha, where you can do all you need to do. Plus, you can do research and testing to make sure the drugs are, rather the supplements are of the appropriate quality. Mm-hmm. So tell me about your facilities. Tell me about how you handle, the research, laboratory-wise, the growing of the algae, however you do that, and the packaging of the algae into tablets or whatever other form you sell them in.
Okay, right now, Jay, at the Natural Energy Lab, we occupy 90 acres. And on
90 acres?
90 acres.
That's a huge amount of land.
It certainly is. And as Bob, if you go to our website, www.cyanotech.com, you'll see an aerial view of our total facility. It's quite large. Mm-hmm. And on that 90 acres, we have a total of 69 large culture ponds for growing microalgae. And on average, each one of these culture ponds, each one of the 69, is 600 feet long, 50 feet across, and holds 150,000 gallons of algae culture media. Mm-hmm. And 29 of these ponds are in astaxanthin production or Haematococcus production, 40 are in spirulina production. And we actually culture the spirulina and Haematococcus much differently. Spirulina grows under a very harsh environment, a pH of 10 to 11, and we create that alkalinity by adding baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, to the culture media. And in each one of our spirulina culture ponds, there's over $8,000 of food-grade baking soda dissolved in those ponds. And what that does for us is it creates such an alkaline environment that only spirulina will grow. Mm-hmm. No unwanted microalgae, no contamination. It's just not a problem. And we can harvest these spirulina ponds every week. We leave about 30% of the culture in there as an inoculum or a seed for the next batch. And we can do that week after week for literally years without problems of contamination, as long as we manage the ponds right and keep the chemistry in the ideal situation.
How do you do that? Do you have to put chemical additives in or change the composition of the material?
Well, we never add any herbicides or pesticides. What we're using, just like a plant, microalgae require the same nutrients as a plant. A source of nitrogen, a source of phosphate, magnesium, mm-hmm. sulfur, iron. And we add those nutrients to what the microalgae want, and we keep them in optimal balance so the microalgae grows very fast and nothing else can really get a foothold. Mm-hmm. Now having said that, for spirulina, it's rather easy to grow. growing Haematococcus to produce astaxanthin is about 10 times more difficult. Haematococcus grows in a very neutral environment, you know, pH of around 7, and essentially freshwater with a small amount of nutrients added. And many other things like to grow in there. Other strains of microalgae, protozoa, amoeba. I mean, it's really a challenge, and it takes a lot of technology to successfully commercially produce Haematococcus. And we actually start all of our 150,000 gallon ponds or culture ponds with an inoculum in the laboratory, only 250 mils. 1 cup of culture is slowly expanded over about 10 different steps before it's inoculated into the large outdoor, what we call reddening ponds, where the Haematococcus accumulates all the astaxanthin.
And what about production of the tablets and the powder, whatever it may be? Do you have a facility that does that?
Yeah, we have processing facilities on site. For the spirulina, we actually have a special spray drying process called ocean chill drying that produces powder under low oxygen atmosphere. It comes out as a powder. We then run complete quality assurance testing on that here on site, 15 different tests. We certainly grade the material or check its nutrient level, moisture, color, taste. It also goes through complete microbiological testing before it passes quality assurance and moves on to the next step, which is either boxed as a powder or sent to our tablet machines. We have 4 tablet machines on site, and we use cold pressed tablets to preserve, again, the high nutrient levels of what we're producing. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to ask this. So since you're leaving the algae in the ponds in order to have it develop further and sort of fill the pond, you take some out, you leave some, and it fills the pond. You don't have to introduce new algae. So it's really the same crop growing and giving you product, you know, over and over again on a natural basis. You don't have to import algae. Am I right? You don't have to buy algae. You have all the algae you need to propagate additional algae right there in Kona. Am I right?
That's absolutely correct, especially with the spirulina. We've been growing the same strain of spirulina for over 30 years. And during that time, the spirulina has adapted to these intense sunlight conditions on the Kona coast. It's higher nutrient level, higher amounts of carotenoids like beta-carotene and zeaxanthin. It's really a superior strain. And we don't have to bring in any algae. Haematococcus is a little different. When we harvest a pond, we harvest everything all the way down to the pond liner. But we start the cultures over and over again in the laboratory in these small 250 ml shake flasks and slowly scale it up. So we're not constantly bringing in new algae. Absolutely not. Everything is self-contained here in terms of our crop or our seeds.
We only have a minute left. I wish we had more time to talk about the technology because that's my favorite part, but we're running out of time, so I just want to ask you my last question here. What's the future of Cyanotech? Where do you see it going? It's a public company. What's the plan, if you can describe it to me? And also, if I'm a resident of the state of Hawaii, why do I care? I mean, I think every resident would be conscious of every public company in Hawaii, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Because they're our babies, you know. Why do I care? So tell me what you see going forward. Tell me what you see that people should be interested in about Cyanotech.
Well, going forward, I see a good, healthy growth in our revenue. We have a big push now to sell all of the products Cyanotech produces, bulk raw materials, through our Nutrex division, our retail division, Nutrex Hawaii. We are, as you mentioned, a public company. We're experiencing good growth in revenue. We employ 100 people here. We're producing a product that makes people healthy. And so I think you can really be proud. We're a company that's environmentally responsible. We even won an Audubon Award for the work we've done with endangered Hawaiian stilts. We recycle everything. We try to be as sustainable as we can. We're actually now just installing a 500 kilowatt solar PV array.
Oh, that's great. Good for you.
Yeah. And we're also bringing in an extraction process for our own extraction of astaxanthin, produce bioastaxanthin here on site. And it's going to be a state-of-the-art facility, what's called a 1,000 bar, 15,000 PSI system. There's only a handful of these things that exist in the world. So we're bringing in some really exciting technology. It's going to lower our costs, produce a better product. We're employing a lot of people. We have a healthy product. We're good to the environment.
Bob, how much of that do you agree with?
110% of that for sure. I'll tell you what, just living in Hawaii and knowing that we have this product, like Gerry said, that's so health giving, and you should see the letters and emails we get from people just saying this, these products like help, change my life. I mean, just like that medical doctor, Dr. Childs I talked about, and we're selling now in over 60 countries worldwide, all from this little farm here in Kona.
That's great. It's great to find a public company, a local public company doing sustainability things and maintaining the standard. It's wonderful to be able to talk to you guys. I really appreciate you coming on the show. I hope we can do this again, and I wish you the best.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Jay.
That's Bob Capelli, Vice President, and Gerry Cysewski, Chief Science Officer and founder of Cyanotech. We've been talking about new developments in Cyanotech here on ThinkTech Talks, Agritech in the islands. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Thank you.